Hello, everyone. Good morning. And I'd like to take a moment and start this call, this video, how I start every morning with a moment of gratitude. And every morning, I am so grateful for the opportunities that ORGANO has brought into my life for myself and my children. So good morning. My name is Natalie Morse. I live in Leamington, Ontario, and I am a Sapphire consultant with ORGANO. So the little dot on the map here is where Leamington is. So I am in Canada, but interesting fact is that I am actually south of Detroit. So that is where you can find me for the foreseeable future. And today the topic of the call is Work from Home Wednesday. And so I've been asked to spend some time with you guys today and share a little bit of my experience of working from home with ORGANO and how that fits into my life. So really what that starts is with my why. And my why is these two beautiful smiling faces with me in this picture, my two sons. And this picture is from a little while ago, so they are 12 and 9 now, so much older. But this is my why. This is my why for everything in my life. And our life changed quite dramatically about 2 years ago. Actually, we just had a 2-year anniversary of the date that myself and their father separated. So our life drastically changed 2 years ago. And as divine guidance and divine timing would have it, 2 weeks after that, I met this amazing woman, Diane Solano, and the opportunity of ORGANO. See, I was stuck at that point. I was sleeping on an air mattress on the floor, figuring out what I was going to do, figuring out how I was going to have a future for me and my children. I'm a pharmacist. I was already stretched to the max, working many, many hours, very tired, figuring out how I was going to have a house for us, have a future for us that I could be proud of, and to give my kids my why, everything that they need of. And I was open to opportunity. I was open to the timing and the presentation and the blessing that came to me just 2 weeks after that moment. So meeting Diane Solano and being introduced to ORGANO, I knew this was the right time for me and my family to work with ORGANO as a now single mom, as a part-time income to bring into my life. And so over the next 6 months with me and my children, I worked really, really hard to get started with ORGANO. I learned a lot. I spent a lot of time learning from my mentors, and it was told to me a long time ago that if you want to do something, you find someone who's done what you want to do and you learn from them. So someone like Diane Solano, who is also a single mom, who is doing and providing the life for her and her son, this is the person I needed to learn from. This is the person I needed to learn from. How is she doing it? How did she take this opportunity? And how is she structuring her life and her business together? How is she structuring her business around her life? And that's what I've been really working hard for over the last 2 years. So from that time of April 2 years ago, then the following 6 months were tough. They were challenging. They involved living in my grandmother's basement and myself and my two sons sleeping on a pull-out couch together. And one of the amazing things with ORGANO and the opportunity that I have was to bring in some extra income, already working, already taking care of my kids, but to bring in some extra income that I so desperately and very much needed at that time. And I've shared this before, so for people who know me, they've seen this before, they know this story. So from April and in September, this was the first purchase I made with my money I made with ORGANO that I worked really, really hard to do. And that was a bed. That was a proper bed for me and my children. So for after 6 months of sleeping on an air mattress, a futon, and a pull-out couch, I was able to give my family, it wasn't the fresh start we were working towards, but it was definitely a step in the right direction to have a nice, real bed. That was amazing for us and amazing for my children. And having ORGANO as part of our journey was so so very important for that opportunity. It almost makes me cry up, even though this is, 2 years ago, 18 months ago now, it still makes me very, very emotional, remembering where we were not that long ago. And so working from home and working from Organo, there's been so many opportunities and so many blessings for me and my children that otherwise I wouldn't have had, otherwise as a single mom. So with Organo, they have these amazing trips called the OG Getaway. And last year, there was 5 destinations we can choose from. And I worked really, really hard, worked super hard to qualify for this OG Getaway to get me and my children on this trip. And we work together in this business, and I very clearly tell my children when they see me on the phone, I let them know. I let them know what I'm doing, because they were starting to get of like, Mom, why are you on your phone all the time? And I'll let them know I'm working on the business. And then when they can see this larger goal and they can understand it, they're like, oh, okay. And when I'm legit working on the business, I'm not just wasting time doing something else. I'm working right now. And so when there was days where I was really, really busy, and I was like, okay, I need to do this so we can have this trip. That really helped the children understand why Mom was working, and seeing Mom working in a different way, right? A lot of times kids, if they're at home, they don't really know what we do for work, right? They understand work as you leave the house, you go away, and then you come back at the end of the day. Don't actually see a lot of times what we actually do for work. So working from home, they've had the blessing, and they've had the experience of seeing what that can look like. They've had the experience of hearing training calls that I'm listening on. They've had the experience of seeing me interacting with other people and helping other people at the same time. So when this OG Getaway came out last year, and there was 5 destination trips to choose from, as soon as I saw the locations, I knew 100% right away what my children were going to choose, because it's a family business and we're doing this together. I'm doing this for them, for us. So when I saw it, I knew 100% right away they were going to pick Florida. And the reason why I knew that is because my youngest son, since he started school at the age of 4 or 5, he would look at me and ask to go to Florida, because all his friends were going to Florida. And he didn't really know what was going on in Florida, but he knew his friends were excited, and he knew his friends wanted to go to Florida. So he should want to go to Florida as well. But as a busy single mom, there was never the time, there was never the money to make that happen. And so for years, I had to look at him and say, we'll go to Florida someday. Yeah, buddy, I know it. I'm sure we will. We'll go to Florida for someday, but I honestly didn't know when that someday was going to be. And so for us to have that opportunity to travel to Florida together, which really was their dream vacation, right? Which was their dream vacation that they had been working on their minds for 5 years, was so amazing. So in August of last year, we got to go to Florida with Organo and stay at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Boca Raton. This is a vacation I never would have been able to give to my children. We may have went to Florida, but it would not have been this Florida experience that we had. And if I could have captured the looks on their faces that morning that I woke up, we had to get up at like 4 a.m. to drive to Detroit to get on the airplane. And when I just went to them and I just whispered in their ear, it's Florida time, like the grin from ear to ear. If you could have seen those faces, every extra phone call I made, every sample pack I dropped off, every training I did was all worth it in that moment, to see those smiles and to see the look of them as soon as we got to hotel room and look out and for them to see the ocean. It was all 100% worth it. So this is the reason I love Organo, is that this is a family business, and that we do work together, and my children do know what's going on, and that other families include their children as well. So during our Organo-way, my children had the beautiful opportunity to make friends from all over North America with other Organo families. It was so much fun. They're very welcome and very involved in our meetings, whether they're small local meetings in my living room, meetings in a hotel room, or large, God willing, we get to enjoy that time together in the very near future, larger conferences. Organo is very supportive and very welcoming of our children. And I'm so happy that I get to learn, my children get to learn in that very very nurturing environment where there's amazing leaders who share very similar values as myself. And this is the environment I want my children to grow up in. I'm very proud that my children get to grow up in this environment, hearing from these amazing leaders as well. So this was last August. And in September, I had a major shift. And this is the part where it's you design. My best mentors told me years and years ago that you should design your business around your life. Design the business around the life you want to have. And I had been working towards that, working on that the last couple of years, figuring out what life did I want to have, what was most important to me, what mattered. And I've been moving towards for the last several years is working less time out of the house in the pharmacy and building a business that can support that life. Building a business that, in the pharmacy, we work really long hours and work a lot of weekends. And so I missed a lot of things with my kids. I missed track and field days. I missed taking the kids to hockey practice. I missed their downtime on a Saturday morning because I had to go to work. So in September, it took a long time to get to that point, but in September, I made the official transition from full-time pharmacist running a pharmacy to part-time. And that was a huge monumental moment in our family's life. And it took a long time to get to that point. It took longer to find the right person to take over that pharmacy business, but I was able to transition from full-time to part-time. And so that really opened up a lot. And I'm just going to check in. I can't see the Facebook comments on here. So I'm going to check in here and see if I can see if there's any comments coming in Facebook Live. Okay, I can see me. So hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Hola, hola. Perfect. Yeah, so if you have any questions, I can see them on Facebook. So go ahead and pop them in. And thanks for all the love, my beautiful friends. So in September, I was able to make that transition from full-time pharmacist to part-time while having my other businesses to continue to sustain myself and my family. And then in November, a very, very, very special time for me and my children. 18 months after, I moved with my grandmother, love her. Thank you so much, Grandma. I moved into Grandma's house thinking we'd be there 3 months as transition. Turned out it was going to be an 18-month venture there, but that's where we needed to be. And then in November, my children and I moved into our new house together. And so ORGANO is definitely a big part of our continued future in this house. And when you know what you want, and if it wants you, it's going to find you very, very quickly, and it can happen very, very fast. So I saw this house in October, and I saw it in person one day, and I put an offer in that day, and it was accepted that day. So when we moved in November 1st, my children hadn't actually been inside the house. They hadn't seen the house. There wasn't multiple viewings. I'd driven by it, so they'd seen the outside. So this is literally the picture of them opening the door. I'm going to cry again, going into their new house for their first time, and then having their safe space and having their own bedrooms again for the first time in a very long time. So that was a big part of our transition. In November, as I continued to design our life, again, now in a new environment, literally, and another transition, and we had to reevaluate and create our schedules again based on our new living environment. Mom working part-time out of the house, mom being home more, working from home more, being able to be there and meet them when they got off the school bus, which for years and years and years, that just didn't happen because I was always at work. To be able to meet them at the school bus when they get home and have that 5-minute walk home where they can just unload and tell you things that they wouldn't normally tell you. By the time you get home from work at 6 o'clock, they've already plugged into their other stuff. The moment's gone. So to be there and have those precious moments has definitely been a blessing. And I'm cherishing those moments. So then we fast forward to, March 2020, and here we are in April. So fast forward to March 2020, and me getting the notice on, I believe it was March 12th, that my children were going to be out of school for 3 weeks. And the things were starting to shut down. And again, I'm working in a pharmacy still. I'm still working in a pharmacy 2 to 3 days a week. And what this was going to be like for my children, and what was going to be the best thing for my family going forward. What's the safest thing? Because I'm in a medical facility, you know, I will get exposed to a virus. I get exposed to things every day and bring them home. And so I had to really think, like, what's going to be best for my children in this scenario? What's best for us? So it took a couple of days to kind of get clear and sit with it, and to let the initial stress and the initial brain chatter get clear and move aside. But when I was able to do that, and it took a lot of meditation and it took a lot of walks, when I was able to sit and get clear within my heart, what did I want and what was important for us? Like, in this next 3 weeks, you know, and again, this is going back to middle March, right? At that point, it was like, I want nothing more for this 3 weeks than to me be at home with my kids. I want nothing more to be at home and not have to leave with my 3 kids. And I know they're home, and I know they're safe, and I know they're taken care of. So that became my North Star. So I got, again, as my picture and my story has evolved and developed over time, there's always a next step, and there's always another time and an opportunity to reflect. Where have we come? What are we working on? Where are we working toward? So back during what was then the March break, when I got very clear, it's like, okay, that is my North Star. My North Star is now that I am able to work from home 100% and be in complete charge of my schedule, and have the freedom and flexibility in my schedule and my finances to be there for them, so that in the eventuality that they're going to be home for a while, I can be home and we are all safe and we are all taken care of. So that is my North Star. So that is now my North Star. And it's very important for you all to get very clear on what your North Star is. Again, it's been clear for me for years that my why is my kids. So now that I know my North Star, when there's a decision to make or when there's an action to take, I check, does this align with my North Star or not? Is this decision or action, is it going to bring me closer to the North Star, or is it going to take me further away from my North Star? And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're going to make a decision or an action that's going to pull us away, but then we can reevaluate and course correct and go back towards that North Star. So my North Star is very clear, is to be home with my kids, is to be able to provide them with the opportunities that they deserve, to keep going forward with that. That is my North Star. So right now I'm still working out of the house a couple days a week in the pharmacy, right? But we're still working towards that as we go. So this is what working from home is like, right? So for me, it's been an adaptation. It's been a slower transition over the last few years. And for some people, it might be a sudden transition now. And it's something that I've been working towards for the last few years, and I really, really enjoy, and I want more of. And we're in this scenario in Ontario where the children are now expected to do online learning this week. The last 3 weeks, I gave them, cut them some slack, let them go and adjust and do what they need to do, but we're supposed to do online learning. And my 12-year-old said, as kids tell you the truth, right? They're like, we don't learn anything important at school. I'm like, well, maybe you'd learn some stuff. It's like, no, we don't learn anything important at school. So I'm like, well, what would you like to learn, right? So what is important to you? What are you interested in? He started talking about volcanoes and stuff. I'm like, well, that's amazing. Let's use this time to learn about what you want to learn about. And again, from the mouths of babes, he said, he's like, well, they don't teach us about taxes or anything, right? Because in typical school system, I wasn't taught things about business. I was in science classes. I didn't learn things about how to run a business. I didn't learn about customer service. I didn't learn about marketing. I didn't learn about how to have effective communications. I didn't learn how to mentor other people and coach other people and put together Zoom presentations. They teach them in school that now. I didn't have that opportunity. So we can take that opportunity now from ourselves as we're home and learning from home, but also for our children. So building the business into their life has always been a part of that. I've always involved them in sampling. I've always involved them in, if I have packages to mail out, they help me do that. They help me put things together. So if there's an opportunity for them and they want to learn something more about it, I know other people are having their kids help them with the books and help them with the finances so they can get a, years advanced education, real life experience of what it actually takes to run a business. They're able to see that from the comfort of your home, and you can have them partake in the online opportunities and the online trainings that are available to everything. And their personal favorite job, as I like to call it, with this online home business is product tasting, right? They are my official product taste testers. So if I make a new recipe, if I make some protein brownies with our delicious OG shake, or if I have some hot chocolate, they love being product testers. So that is part of their job as well, because I need a child's opinion and taste buds of, does this recipe work or not? So there's so many ways you can involve your children in an at-home business as well. So I'm just checking the Facebook messages, see if there's any questions. Thanks guys for tuning in. Yes, Diane. Diane has had the pleasure of staying with my grandmother when she was down in our area for meetings. And we had the pleasure of hosting her. So yes, my grandma is a blessing, that is for sure. Smart kids, but look at their mom. Thank you, Nancy. And yes, this is the best time to click and order. Absolutely. So this is the beauty of this right now is I don't want to leave the house. I want to stay at home as much as possible because that's where it's safe. So I have the opportunity to order online healthy products that are going to support me and my family and have them delivered right to my door. Have things on auto ship coming every month that I know is going to feed and nurture and nourish my children and myself, which is so amazing. So for right now, we have this amazing opportunity to join an online business with some amazing mentors from all walks of life. So you can find the mentor that resonates with you, who has done what you want to do, all for the low cost of under $10 US and $12.50 Canadian. Now that really is priceless because I spend so much time, effort, and energy into personal development and learning from mentors and connecting from mentors to have the opportunity to connect with some of the mentors that I can through this opportunity. And you, everyone watching this presentation, the mentors that you get to connect with for $10 US is mind-boggling. One of my mentors who works in ORGANO as well, people spend thousands of dollars to mentor with these people because they're so good at what they do. And so we have the opportunity to partner with these people and learn from the comfort of our own home and use technology like Zoom and our telephone and our Facebook messengers to stay in connection with everyone for $10. So if nothing else, the opportunity and the education, I'm going to spend more on workbooks for my children that they're hardly going to touch than this $10 and the education that they have access to through being connected with the people that they have and through these Zoom calls and the Zoom meetings that we have and the regular trainings that we have in our ORGANO community. That is priceless for my children. That is priceless. I'm going to spend more on the math books and whatever other books that they have that they want to learn about right now. I'm going to spend more on that than I can on this. That's going to completely open up a new world for them. And it has already opened for us. So that is a little bit of my experience of working from home and developing my life and structuring my life to include that more because that was the right thing for me. And some of us are learning how to do that and adapt to that very, very quickly. And it can be amazing. It can be a beautiful experience. There's work involved. There's absolutely work involved. And there's new skills. But we have all of the resources literally at the click of a button, everything available to us. And so I just want to thank you for everyone for sharing your time with me this morning. And I'm just going to leave you with this, is that fortune favors the bold. What would you be doing right now if time and money were no issue? The best way to predict your future is to create it. So I encourage you to take a few moments today or later this week and get clear on what is important to you. What would you be doing right now if time and money were no issue? And are what you're doing today and tomorrow, is it lining up with where you want to be? Once you get clear on your why, and once you get clear on where your North Star is, all of this becomes much, much easier. So from my heart in Leamington, Ontario, to wherever you are, thank you for sharing this time with me today. This has been a little bit of a glimpse of my life with Organo. I'm so happy and blessed to have it as part of the life of myself and my family. Thank you all. Have a fantastic day.